I know it's been about a month since this thing came out, but I wanted to test it thoroughly before giving my verdict on it. So this is my review of Codex Necrons, and that's coming right up. Welcome back, and it's great to have you here. So, Necrons have their own codex now, and I know I'm about a month late on this, but I figured better late than never, and this way I've had a chance to thoroughly test this codex out, playing against myself, because #foreveralone. But in all seriousness, I have thoroughly tested it. I've done about 40 odd test games to see how this thing has gone, and all in all, I give it a B+. What? B+ is fair. It's not the best, but it's good. B+ is good. Whatever. Anyway, it's pretty good, not the best, it's not overpowered, but it will compete fairly effectively. And the best part is, either Games Workshop listened to me, or a hell of a lot of people whinged about it and they listened to them. So, let's jump straight into this review of Codex Necrons. But before we get into that, if this is your first time here, here's what's up. If you want to improve your wargaming, make your tabletop battles more epic, and give your wargaming budget more power, then be sure to smash the subscribe button below and ding the bell. That way you won't miss anything. Now, besides the point adjustments and a couple adjustments to a couple of the stat lines of a few things, the major differences in this codex is that, well, Cryptex can update cloaks, which allows them to move faster and repair stuff more better, as well as we've got dynastic codes, relics, and 3 new Satan powers. Oh, and your Satans can take more powers. Now, in future videos, I'll go over some strategies for how things have changed, but here I just want to go over the stuff that is new and really exciting. Now, as far as which of the dynastic codes I like the most, that is a tough one, and it has to be a toss-up between Meferet and Nefrek. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I pronounced that right. Feel free to roast me in the comment section below if I mispronounced that. Now, the reason that I have trouble choosing between these two as my favorite, don't get me wrong, I think they're all fantastic for specific situations, but I think these two are the most universally applicable. The reason I like them is because giving Tesla AP-1 and all of your Gauss better AP is awesome, unless you're against hordes, but then just take lots of Tesla, have them AP-1, and you are going to make it even harder for the hordes to survive, which is fantastic. And as for Nefrek, the reason I like this one so much is because, well, I like the idea of having a little bit of the randomness taken out of the game, because with this dynastic code, you're not having to roll for your advanced rolls, which of course means you're just getting straight up 6 or 7 with particular abilities, which is awesome because it means you can rely on it. As for the other codes, obviously, just find the situation they're best suited to. If you find yourself taking lots of heavy weapons, Sautek is a fantastic code, or if you want to be defensive, Nilek works really well, or, you know, if you're taking a lot of flayed ones, I'm looking at you, Nick, then I would recommend Novok, because it's a great code for lots of close combat oriented units. Now, as for artifacts, they are all pretty good, except for the Orb of Eternity. I feel like that's a little bit meh. I mean, it's still good, but it's just, I'm not fast. If you're gonna take a relic, there are far better relics to take. My personal favorite has to be, actually, I don't have a personal favorite. Again, just like with the dynastic codes, it's a choice between a couple of them. The Time Splitter Cloak was a lot of fun because I thoroughly enjoy getting more wounds back when you lose wounds. More wounds back is always better than less wounds back. And then the voltaic stuff, I mean, doing mortal wounds on a 6, it's effectively becoming a sniper weapon. So it's really good for taking down stuff with invulnerable saves because you have about a 50-50 chance of any shooting phase getting 1 mortal wound off. Given that you get 3 shots and you need a 6. It's probably a bit less than 50-50, but it's somewhere around that mark. I'm sure a mathematician in the comments section will correct me on my poor statistics. And then of course, I also really enjoyed the Nightmare Shroud, especially when you run it with a lot of flayed ones. And you have all the flayed ones and your Overlord and the Nightmare Shroud in there. Your enemy's subtracting 2 from their leadership. It's a great relic if used in the correct way. It'll lead to many shenanigans and many running away smurfs. Now, for powers of the Catan, we've got 3 new powers, and they're all pretty good for different situations. The new powers are Sky of Falling Stars, Cosmic Fire, and Transdimensional Thunderbolt. And if these names sound familiar to you, they should, because Warhammer community was talking about them. But also, they're the same names as we've had in previous codexes. And they do sort of similar things to what they did before, obviously just with the rules changed a bit to suit the new rules system. And they are all pretty nasty. I would highly recommend taking any of them because they're a lot of fun to use and they're quite powerful. Although my personal favourite would have to be Cosmic Fire, just because I like to be very aggressive with my Satan shards, which means they're going to be surrounded by lots and lots of units a lot of the time, which makes this power very effective because it affects every single enemy unit within 9 inches of the Satan shard, which gives us an 18-inch diameter. I mean, you can fit a lot of units into that, and it is very lethal. Now, speaking of Satan shards, the Satan shards have had a slight change up. Whereas before, they were able to take 1 power of the Satan, they can now take 2. Which of course means more powers, more options, and makes them more flexible on the tabletop, which is a very good thing. I'm expecting to see more Satan shards on the tabletop now that this codex has come out. Or, well, at least I'm going to field them more often, just because they are bloody good now. Now, of course, the Transcendent Catan has had a fairly significant change up, because now it has a chart of special rules that it can take, and you can either pick one, or you can roll a dice and get 2. Well, roll 2 dices and get 2, which is freaking awesome, because all of these abilities are pretty good. They just, do different things, but I don't know if I could actually pick one over another unless I was setting up my Catan shard to do a very specific job on the tabletop. But even then, I reckon that rolling for it is definitely worth it over picking one. At least from my testing, it has been. Just because 2 is better than 1 and none of them are lame, they're all pretty good, which means if you get 2, you're not really going to regret it if you don't get the specific one you want. You just need to change your strategy up. So if you build your list to have that bit of flexibility in it, then rolling 2 dice to pick your Transcendent Catan's abilities is an awesome choice to take. Oh, and just like all the other Catans, the Tesseract Vault has gotten an extra power that it's allowed to take, and it still can fire 3, 2, or 1 depending on how many wounds it has left, which is pretty good. I mean, I'm still not sure if it's really worth it points-wise as far as what it can do, but it does make a great bullet magnet still. 28 wounds, that's going to take your opponent a while to get down. Unless, they take a whole bunch of Forge World Imperial Knights. Then you're going to have a bad time. Now, finally, I want to have a quick word about stratagems. And this is actually the page I went straight to when I opened the Codex up. For one reason, I wanted to see if we were actually going to get to use a good number of these stratagems. And the verdict is in, you can. Especially with the new changes in the big FAQ, giving you more command points. Couple that with the fact that a lot of these stratagems are just 1 command point a piece. And unlike the Grey Knight's Codex, I actually think I'll use these, because in that Codex the stratagems were a bit meh. Whereas here, they all are pretty damn good. Especially given that 2 of the stratagems allow your Knight Scythes to, first of all, deploy 2 units instead of 1 when they deploy units, and if your last Knight Scythe or Monolith goes down, you can spend 1 command point. Yes, 1 command point, and you will be able to deploy a unit out of that vehicle. Which, of course, is great, because it means you can just leave 1, and if the last one goes down, you spend a command point and pop it out there if things start going wrong. Now, my 2 personal favorite stratagems would have to be self-destruction and quantum deflection. Self-destruction because I just think it's hilarious blowing up scarabs and dealing mortal wounds to your enemy. Given that scarabs are as cheap as they are, it's an absolutely fantastic way to use them if you want a good laugh. Because, I mean, what else do you use scarabs for? Tar pit your enemy and then blow them up. I mean, it's good fun. It's good fun. And of course, from a strategic standpoint, quantum deflection, because it makes quantum shielding that much more powerful, subtracting 1 from your roll, which means, reading this as it's written, it looks like you could potentially use quantum shielding to ignore single wounds. Don't quote me on that, but that is what it looks like at the moment. Although, you can discuss this in the comment section below. And of course, finally, we have Warlord traits, and my personal favorite Warlord trait in this book is not even the one specific to a dynasty, although they're all quite good. But no, my personal favorite is Honorable Combatant, just because you combine it with the Blood Scythe relic, and you are adding 2 D3 attacks to your character when you're in close combat with another character. Which of course is awesome. I don't need to tell you how awesome extra attacks are. Quick couple of honourable mentions. The Doomsday Cannon on the Doomsday Arc now fires D6 shots instead of just D3, which is awesome because it means you don't have to be firing at huge squads to be able to get a decent number of shots off. Which, I mean, is not quite as much as I'd like, it's still quite random. I probably would have preferred 2D3 actually. But this is what we've been given, it's better than nothing. I'm gonna take it. And of course, destroyers. The Gauss Cannon, his heavy 3, strength 6, yes! Which of course is awesome because it means we've got the correct number of shots for the Gauss Cannon again, and the correct strength. So they're gonna be awesome. It's probably why there are no destroyers left for sale in the US, or they're ridiculously expensive. Yeah, I almost can't believe that. I mean, I got an email the other day saying it was now $40 off, and I was like, okay, that's not bad. That's not a bad discount, but it's still over $200, so you can go jump off a cliff. So that just about wraps it up, guys. What do you think about the new Codex? Tell us in the comment section below. Also, tell us what your favorite stuff. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me or stuff? Do you think I should have mentioned something else? Chuck it all down below and have the world's funnest argument on the internet. And as always, if you like this video, thumbs up it. If you don't like it, thumbs down it. And as always, if you want to improve your wargaming, make your tabletop battles more epic, and give your wargaming budget more power, then be sure to smash the crosshair and ding the bell. You'll subscribe and I'll be able to share with you more battle reports, terrain tutorials, and strategies to make your wargaming experience more epic. And I'll see you next time.